Well, here we are again. It's been a while since I've made a video here, but it's currently that void between Christmas and New Year's, so I thought it might be nice to share an update for what I've been working on this year. I think 2025 for me has been the year of just do shit. I've participated in more game jams, I've done more art, and I've made more game prototypes just to explore ideas and see what works or more likely doesn't work. I'm still learning, I'm still experimenting, but I'm having fun, and that's probably the most important thing. If you're not having fun making the game, I think it's really hard for others to have fun playing it. There is definitely potential in all of these projects, obviously some more than others, but all of them you can play right now. You can go to my itch page and try them out if they seem fun. I would love to hear your feedback. So, let's get started. The first project we did this year was for the Pirate Software Game Jam, and this was before I learned Jason was not a person to be admired, let's just say. The theme was You Are the Weapon, which led us to create Xenospawn. Xenospawn is a twin-stick shooter that has you playing as an alien bioweapon that's been sent to Earth in order to gather nutrients and devour the local ecosystem to terraform it and prepare for the arrival of your alien masters. And I'm not particularly happy with it. The pixel art I think is okay in a vacuum, but as it's presented with the scaling and arbitrary rotation, it just looks really awkward and jaggy. Originally, we wanted to start off with all the sprites in 2-bit monochrome and then add more colors and resolution as your character grows and evolves, but we had to cut it for time and just go with the 8-bit graphics, so it is what it is. Personally, I think the best part is just the cover art, which I did on a whim about 2 hours before the jam ended. I took inspiration from games like Pac-Man for the Atari 8-bit, where the character on the cover is much more anthropomorphized than their in-game appearance, so it's intentionally misrepresentative. I particularly like the worried expression on the Vibrio. Overall, I think you can still have a bit of fun with it. There's definitely something satisfying about trying to min-max your character and get one particular stat like speed or attack power absurdly high, but I don't personally think there's much that's all that creative gameplay-wise. It did teach me a lot though. I learned more about how to write up a game pitch, how to work with a design document, and how to communicate with team members. You just can't expect someone else to have the same theory of mind as you. Even if something is completely clean and straightforward for you, you have to find a way to communicate that with the rest of your team. You have to use examples, you have to make mock-ups. You can't just go, I know what I want, so that's enough. And that's a really important skill to learn if you're going to work with people. So Xenospawn was an important project for me, just not a particularly impressive one to an outside observer. The next game jam I did this year was GMTK, and this was a solo project, so everything was my responsibility, and for some reason, I had the bright idea to try to make a point-and-click adventure game in RPG Maker MV. And perhaps most surprisingly, it works really, really well. The theme of the jam was loop, so I thought of the idea of being stuck in a time loop in a laboratory that would reset every 5 minutes. The player would have to solve a number of puzzles on each loop in order to gather information, and then use that information to make progress on the next loop. So you may spend 5 minutes figuring out the combination to a safe, but that means the next loop, you'll already know the combination and you can open it right away. Obvious inspirations are games like Shadowgate, Myst, and Outer Wilds. I would absolutely love to do a full game in this style using hand-drawn backgrounds and streamlining the interface a bit. Unlike Xenospawn, I'm actually really very proud of this one, and out of almost 10,000 entries, it finished in the top 200 for narrative. That's just really flattering to me, that a story I came up with in about 2 days beat out over 9,000 other games. So please, if you're at all interested in this type of game, by all means check it out and leave your feedback. I'd love to do a post-jam version and fix some of the more debilitating bugs, maybe make some of the puzzles a bit less obtuse and tidy up the interface a bit, but I'd like to know what you think first. Next up, a game that I can only really describe as a high-effort shitpost. This is Apartment 25. I'm not sure if this will be out before or after this video, but it was something I worked on just on a whim. Some users on the RPG Maker subreddit Discord did what's called a handshake jam, where each person works on part of the game and then hands it off to the next person. So for the first 3 days in December, I was adding dumb shit to an RPG where you have to deliver food to an apartment to pay off your student loans. But the apartment building refuses to cooperate, and to say anything else would be a massive spoiler. I added a few side quests and bits of dialogue all over the game, but if you're curious what part I worked on specifically, well, I started here and ended here, and that's pretty much all I want to say. Just be warned, there's a lot of very edgelordy, often immature humor in this game. Very random, very internet-y humor would probably be the best term. It's the result of 7 people working on the same project with very little communication or planning beforehand. I can't really take responsibility for what other people decided to add or what people decided to change after what I added. It's a shitpost, and one that I haven't even played since I finished my section, so I have no idea what state it's currently in. But I thought it was a fun way to blow off some steam and experiment with some ideas in the engine. And finally, the game I legitimately think has the most potential out of everything I started this year, Harvest Runner. The idea came to me probably as I was lying in bed one day, and I made a little sketch to make sure I remembered it, and after doing nothing with it for about 4 years, I eventually attempted to give it life. It's a combination of an infinite runner like Cannabalt or the Google Chrome dinosaur game, and a resource management farming sim. You collect crops, sell them at market, and then use that money to do things like fertilize your fields, improve your farming abilities, or buy antiques that give you extra bonuses. And something about it just works. I have found myself playing this game just to play it, just to have fun and see how far I can get. And I think that's one of the best possible feelings you can have as a game dev. But obviously, the game is not done. It needs more. It needs more content, and most importantly, it desperately needs to be more balanced in terms of the price of items and your requirements each season. I want the player's choices to matter, which will come down to finding the perfect amount of risk, reward, and strategy. But I think the core gameplay loop is fun and engaging enough that it's worth refining. I really feel like there's potential here. I think one of the first things I want to do in 2026 is make an updated version of Harvest Runner that's playable in browser, just to make it easier for others to try out and provide their feedback. And that's about it for projects I started this year, so before we go, I'd like to share some updates on things I've worked on in previous years. Drag and Drop Tower. This was 2024's GMT game, and I think there's something really special here too. It's a combination of puzzle game and a platformer where you control a little wizard trying to climb a tower by carefully placing dragon scales. You can cast spells, and we want to add more features like special dragon scales that provide bonus power-ups and enemies that need to be dealt with. Maybe even multiplayer, infinite mode. It really feels like there's a lot we can do with it. It's just a matter of finding out what works best. Over the Moon. If you're a fan of my 2018 ROM hack, well, we're working on a standalone version. It will have new powers, a completely updated map, and an actual story of sorts. Think of it like Over the Moon Zero Mission. And finally, my personal albatross, the game that, if you know me, has consumed my entire creative soul for the last several years, Winter of Discontent. And it is still far, far from being finished. I hope to have all 6 chapters published this year, and yeah, that obviously didn't happen. I'm still firmly stuck in Chapter 2. It's not that I have no idea what's going to happen. I have pretty much the entire game planned out, but planning is not the same as actually doing, and that's just something I need to do. ADHD is something I've always struggled with, both as a child and as an adult, so I'm working on it. That's all I can really say. Please be patient, and the occasional positive message and feedback would really mean a lot to me. If any of these games interest you, by all means, try them out and tell me what you think, and that goes for anybody who makes something you enjoy. Artists absolutely thrive on positive feedback. Game devs, visual artists, writers, YouTubers, anybody that makes something you enjoy. Tell them you appreciate them. It probably means more to them than you realize. Until next time, everybody, have fun and happy gaming.